Hello, I am Mike Jones, the Education Manager for the Oracle Applications and Technologies Users Group. Welcome everyone to OATUG's Emerging Leaders Presents Application Coexistence, Path to Your Successful Transition to the Cloud. Before we get started, I'd like to go over a couple of housekeeping items. You'll be on mute throughout the presentation. If you'd like to ask a question, please type it in the question box in your control panel at any time. We're recording this session. It will be available later this week on the OATUG website. Next, I'd like to introduce you for your speaker for today. His name is Ravi Prabhu, and he's from Broadridge Financial Solutions. Take it away, Ravi.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank
Hi,
you.
this is Russell. Actually, I'm going to just quickly jump in and kind of give a little bit of an introduction, if I may, with regards to the OATUG Emerging Leaders. Good day to all, and thank you for joining us today for this webinar. My name is Russell De Leon from the College of American Pathologists, a business systems analyst here, and I chair the Emerging Leaders Group. Before we get started in this topic, please allow me to say something briefly about the Emerging Leaders Group. The OATUG Emerging Leaders, formerly known as the OAUG Young Professionals Group, was formed almost about 4 years ago. Early last year, OAUG back then formally formed this to become a committee called Emerging Leaders, hence our existence today. The OATUG Emerging Leaders is composed of users and volunteers that are very dedicated, skilled, knowledgeable, intelligent, with direction on helping users and the OATUG community. These individuals are very passionate in what they do. It's all about giving back to the community. The OATUG Emerging Leaders has one common goal, and that is we are here to help. We are focused on helping people who are just beginning their career with Oracle applications or just beginning their career in general. You can grow your career with us by networking with peers and mentors, as well as registering for helpful educational content. The group has currently two major initiatives going on. The first one is our mentorship program. The OATUG Emerging Leaders Mentorship Program provides an opportunity for young and new professionals to guide their professional and career goals with an OATUG mentor. The mentorship program was launched at the Collaborate 18 conference, and it's exclusively for OATUG members or current students. The OATUG Emerging Leaders Mentor Program works by matching mentees with a volunteer mentor who will help the individual set goals in areas such as networking, career aspiration, being a new manager, or general professional development guidance in the applications or technology space. To participate, mentees need to complete a questionnaire online about their career and location. The OATUG Emerging Leaders Group will help facilitate a mentor-mentee match as close as possible to career path and location based on the information on the questionnaire. Once matched, both parties will be asked to set up goals and deadlines for the program to help create a successful mentor-mentee relationship. Mentees, on the other hand, can expect the assigned mentor to provide guidance and answer questions about professional career and future growth, as well as answer technology and application-related questions. This program is the OATUG's way of providing the mentee a professional contact that could provide assistance with professional development. This program will also assist individuals in expanding their career, their network within the OATUG community and its members. The other initiative that we have is our webinars, and that's why we are having this session today. These webinars are held multiple times a year with focus on professional development or Oracle application topics. We cover various topics. Like in the past, we've done topics related to career growth, pushing the boundaries. We've also done e-business suite case studies. We've done Women in Technology panel and many other things. Now you may ask, how do you select these topics? We look at trends. We look at what's going on out there and what's out there. Obviously, what's hot out there right now is cloud technology or cloud topics, and that's why we're having this webinar today. We listen to you. You let us know what you want. We meet you, we see you, we mingle at Collaborate conferences. If there's anything that you would like us to present, and other individuals, I'm sure, would like to get to know more information about this topic, then we will make it happen. As the OATUG Emerging Leaders Committee Chair, I am fully committed and strongly support all our initiatives, especially webinars and the mentorship program. As one can imagine, Oracle and its applications are overwhelming, especially to someone that's just starting a career in the industry. These initiatives from the OATUG Emerging Leaders are a crucial element to OATUG young professionals or students, not only in bridging the gap between their profession and the industry, but also serving as a guiding light in developing and advancing their career. This will certainly bring countless benefits to the OAT members and users. So right now, I'd like to get this going. I'd like to get this webinar started and introduce you to our speaker. Our speaker for today for this webinar is Ravi Prabhu. He's the Vice President of Software Engineering at Broadridge, and he's been there for 12 years. Ravi is an experienced Oracle E-Business Suite professional with over 23 years of shared services implementation experience, from cloud application implementation, single sign-on, and identify management, master data management, CRM, ECM, you name it, I think he pretty much has it all. Ravi has deep understanding of Oracle applications, architecture, and broad technology background. Ravi has been regular presenter at Oracle Application Users Group, or OATUG, since Collaborate 2010. As you can see, Ravi has tons of knowledge, background, and experience in the industry, and I'm confident this webinar will provide you with the information and idea you need related to the path to your successful transition to cloud. I'd like to transition this now to Ravi. Ravi, take it away.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Russ. Thank you for introducing. Just as the FYI for the folks on the webinar, this session was presented at Collaborate 19. So hopefully those of you who are attending today will try to get an idea as to why we need coexistence and what are some of the approaches you are likely to take. So I'm going to quickly cover about my company. Russ already covered about me. We will address the need for application coexistence, what is the rationale and benefits. We will discuss some of the sample use cases which will kind of help you to transition into cloud. I'll discuss application coexistence at Broadridge. We will also discuss how to plan your cloud transition. What are some of the best practices? I have a list of good references for you, which I'm sure it will keep you busy at least for next 3 months. We'll summarize and I'll take any questions. You can also reach me or Russell or Mike. We have our emails in the presentation. About Broadridge. Broadridge is a market leader enabling secure and accurate processing of the information for communications and security transactions among the issuers, investors, and financial intermediaries. We provide advanced communications, technology, data, and analytics solutions for the financial services industry and businesses. More than 90% of public companies and mutual funds in North America utilize our proxy services. We process trillions of dollars in financial settlements per day and mail billions of investor communications annually through our technology solutions. My company website is www.broadridge.com. Broadridge has been awarded multiple awards over a period of time. The most significant one in 2019 is Broadridge is #1 in financial data services as awarded by Fortune Magazine's 2019 World's Most Admired Companies. Russ already covered this about my background. Moving on to application coexistence, rationale and benefits. Let us first understand what is application coexistence. Wyke states this as the state or fact of living or existing at the same time or in the same place. Layman's definition from application perspective is concurrent existence and usage of applications on-prem and cloud. IBM has a very interesting definition of application coexistence, which is very much relevant. IBM calls this a chapter 2 of cloud computing worth $1 trillion. Ellison is predicting a decade of coexistence, whereby 3 tiers of cloud computing, software, platform, and infrastructure as a service, that continue to work alongside conventional on-prem software systems. Which means if you are an e-business suite user, as you transition to the cloud, your existing e-business suite will continue to remain in your premises until you have completely mapped and transitioned all the functionalities into the cloud. As you are aware, cloud applications work slightly differently in a much agile and a better way. What is the rationale for application coexistence? Change management. Now, if you are a new EBS customer, you don't have a problem. You can directly take a decision to go into the cloud. However, if you are an existing e-business suite customer, you might have multiple applications tied into your e-business suite. You could also have some business rationale, which will will mandate a very good change management process, without which you will not be able to move into the cloud. You might have some key business processes, which is very unique to your business, which may or may not have any cloud equivalent. You could also have bespoke legacy applications, which might be driving some business units within your company. You could be having multiple third-party applications. Cloud security is one of the other concerns, as well as system integrations and customizations. Few months ago, according to Oracle, 75% of enterprise workloads are still on-prem. Now let us look at some of the benefits of application coexistence. If applications coexist, you can plan your cloud transition the way how you want it to function. You have a great digital transformation opportunity. You will be able to take a solution-driven transition to cloud rather than a requirement-based transition. Because one of the key items you need to understand, there is no customization in as far as the cloud applications are concerned. It depends on your solution you're looking for, and that solution is directly mapped into the application functionality. So it is more about configuring and standardizing rather than having your own unique functions and processes. Now, does that mean that you are not able to do some of this? Certainly not. You will be able to, because most of these applications are extremely flexible, configurable, and you will be able to build the processes the way you want it to work within your organizations. It will also give you a great opportunity to standardize system integrations and minimize customizations, because when you move into the cloud, the approach is solution driven, not requirements driven. Now let us take some of the common application coexistence scenarios. These are the high level classifications: a single system integration with coexistence, or you could have multiple systems integrated along with coexistence. After discussing these use cases, I will highlight how applications coexist at Broadridge. Now, the key item to remember is enterprises should plan and blueprint their cloud transition with digital transformation and minimum disruption. Also, actual coexistence scenarios will depend on the specific need and requirements of each enterprise. There is no one size fits all. Let us take a very simple application coexistence scenario. You could be having your HR systems on Workday, and you would be leveraging Oracle E-Business Suite for the power it offers for all your standard enterprise resource planning modules. In which case you could have your E-Business Suite on-prem with two-way integration with Workday in cloud to receive and send information as applicable. One of the most common use cases is EBS with Salesforce Cloud. You have an on-prem e-business suite, which is tightly integrated with Salesforce in the cloud, and you are able to exchange information across. Now, those organizations who really want to get their feet wet in the cloud, this is the best approach for you to try it out. E-Business Suite with Oracle Analytics Cloud. Now, as you are aware, most of your users would always want some sort of a reporting. Now, E-Business Suite, while it has all the golden set of data, reporting wise, it is always advisable if you are able to transition the power of data analytics into the hands of a user who would exactly know what is required. If not, what would happen is no matter how many reports you have within E-Business Suite, still a user would want a new report which is for a particular application, which again then becomes a customization. So here you have very minimal risk in terms of understanding how the cloud works. At the same time, this will provide you a great opportunity to really ensure you have a good BI platform. EBS with PBCS, Planning and Budgeting Cloud. This is one of the other transformation opportunities. Now, you might be doing your planning and budgeting using spreadsheets. This is an opportunity for you to move that to Planning and Budgeting Cloud, and then have tight integration with the Business Suite, which will ensure you can have your cake and eat it too. Many of the companies take one of these applications, either Oracle Analytics Cloud or Planning and Budgeting Cloud, to get a fair understanding of how cloud works or how it doesn't work before they jump into other applications. This is for all existing customers. Now, any of the new customers, without any doubt, you should directly go into the cloud. Now, one of the key areas where application coexistence transformation opportunity exists is in the area of supply chain management, where you could have your order management in the cloud and all your standard processing within e-business suite, which is on-prem. You could also have EBS on-prem only for your core general ledger and subledger accounting processes, and rest everything in the cloud in terms of procure to pay cloud. Now, this is a little complex environment where you have e-business suite, you also have legacy applications, and data is also required for your planning and budgeting. This again is one of the use cases depending on how your enterprise is structured. This is yet again a good way of looking at things, trying to get your feet wet at the same time trying to tie in your legacy applications with the e-business suite. Now, if you're into full-scale enterprise performance management, you could have the entire enterprise performance management cloud integrated with your on-prem e-business suite, which will kind of give you an opportunity to segregate your transactional systems with your planning systems, being in cloud and your traditional processing systems on e-business suite on-prem. Now, having discussed some of these use cases, let me share with you how is application coexistence in Broadridge. Just to give you a flavor of our footprint, we are running Oracle e-business suite release 12.13. We have presence in 18 countries. We have 27 ledgers. We have multiple localizations as well as third-party integrations. This is our broad application footprint. We have modules ranging from procure to pay, order to cash, record to report. We also have multiple third-party integrations, few of them being integrations with banks. We have a payment gateway, Blackline for reconciliation, Dun & Bradstreet for data enrichment, Kofax MarkView for invoice processing, Microsoft Projects for time tracking, TM1 planning, Vertex Tax, as well as Workday. We also have an extensive set of change management tool set, and we follow Agile Scrum as well as PMI PMBOK for application standards. Now, I just want to take a moment to highlight the benefits of using Agile Scrum in your enterprises and how Agile Scrum has really minimized the amount of documentation we needed to prepare. Oracle has Oracle Unified Method for documenting the applications. Now, one of the key things what you need to remember is that any method you have at your organization, you should not serve the method, but have the method serve you. So once we went into Agile, instead of going through multiple documents, we standardized everything into a single document called DS110, which is a design specification document from the OUM methodology. Now, by doing this, we ensured that every team who is working on any change is referring only to this one single document. This way, you are able to standardize across. And over a period of time, this has really helped us a lot, including business users. They are aware what a DS110 is rather than the historical list of documents. Development team, the product owners, everybody is aware. And this has really saved us a lot of time. That's the reason I just thought I will take a moment to mention this to you. Now, we have our e-business suite on-prem. We have multiple third-party integrations wherein we receive files coming into e-business suite and going out of e-business suite. We have multiple legacy integrations with various systems. We have Oracle BICS and Analytics Cloud, Workday, as well as Salesforce. Essentially, all the complexities what you can think of, and all of this is working relatively well within our environment. Now, having understood some of the sample use cases, as well as how the coexistence is actually working at Broadridge, let us discuss on how to plan your cloud transition. When you are planning your cloud transition, there are several key considerations which you need to keep in mind. Digital transformation. Is your organization ready to transform itself digitally? Because this involves a lot of change management processes. What is the economic impact of moving to the cloud? What is the business impact? Remember, it doesn't matter whether your application is in cloud or on-prem. Business cannot have any impact because of your transition. It should always be business as usual. Do you have an application modernization requirement? Do you have any legacy applications which you think can be built better in the cloud or transitioned into one of the existing standard applications in cloud? Are you thinking of business analytics modernization? Remember, it is all about data and the right amount of data being available at the right time. So business analytics definitely should be on everyone's priority list. What is the kind of security and service level you are looking at? Is your organization ready for a cloud transition? What is your organizational velocity? Do you have multiple acquisitions, integrations happening all at the same time? Do you have any opportunity for application rationalization? You have multiple applications doing the same thing. Do you have an opportunity to standardize in one of the cloud products? Are you willing to rethink your approach from requirement-based to solution-based? Now remember, requirement-based follows the traditional tire swing syndrome, wherein the user asks for something and the product which is developed is something else because of the various gaps. Instead of which, can you take the solution-based approach, look at what is available, try using it, and then make changes along the way? Do you have any need of your legacy application integration? These are some of the key items, not necessarily the entire laundry list, but it gives you an idea as to what you should keep in mind. These are the standard cloud service models. I'm pretty sure you looked at multiple times. On-prem, where you own everything. Infrastructure as a service, where you leverage only the infrastructure, or you could also leverage just the platform where you are responsible for applications and data, or the best option, software as a service, where the vendor owns everything, in which case you just go in as a user and leverage, the exact opposite of on-prem. Depending on what kind of service you choose, there are caveats which you need to keep in mind. Infrastructure as a service has its own items which you need to worry about. Platform as a service has its own. Now, software as a service is a pure using software as a service. which means everything the vendor hosts, the software is vendors. You just utilize the application to get what you want. What are some of the cloud transition key challenges? Now, while on paper everything seems to be pretty nice and clean, as you embark on your cloud journey, you will be facing one or more of the items listed in this slide. To start with, look at the organizational challenges: change readiness, process changes, cloud adaptability, cloud governance. These are some of the areas where you will have challenges. However, you have to look forward, ensure that all these items are addressed, and then keep marching on with your cloud journey. Security. Security, I cannot emphasize much on security. This should be your number one priority. Now, all of us are aware of the various data breaches and such. It is our duty and responsibility to ensure the security aspect of cloud transition is addressed the right way. Secure network, data encrypted at rest, data encrypted in motion. More importantly, who is accessing the data and who is doing what with the data should be the questions asked. Financial impact. What is the investment return on investment? Capital expenditure versus operating expenditure. Is it faster, reliable, and economical? What are some of the technical challenges? Features available versus what features need to be built. Integration on-prem and legacy applications. Real-time reporting and BI dashboards. Functional areas within business, you may encounter challenges in business process alignment, release roadmap, mobility and user experience, and there are a whole list of other challenges as well. Again, it boils down to people, process, and technology. So if you are assuming that cloud is your solution to all your problems, it is not. You have to take a very pragmatic and a cautious view as you embark on your cloud journey. What are some of the application transformation options that are available to you? This is a summary from a great guide from Oracle, which outlines what are the options available to you. One, you retire the application as you move to the cloud, which means your legacy application retires as soon as you transition to the cloud. Retain the application, essentially just migrate it to one of the available products utilizing the infrastructure and leave it as is, or leave it on-prem depending on what your final assessment is. Rehost, lift and shift with minimum changes and re-platform with infrastructure as a service. You have an on-prem EBS, move it to the cloud and re-platform it by making sure you have the required infrastructure. Re-platform, move to a cloud-aligned technology. Now you might be having some of the existing reports built. You can move it to Oracle Analytics Cloud using the OAC platform. This way you have a standardized cloud solution available for your key reporting problems. Refactor, targeted changes leverage common cloud services. It is platform as a service. Reuse, wherever feasible and possible, consolidate, develop common services and products across your application inventory. Replace, existing application directly gets replaced with software as a solution with cloud native apps. This is the best option which is available to you. However, please understand, not all applications would fall to this category. Also, your on-prem application might be having some extra rich, feature-rich functions which may or may not be available in the cloud, but the vendor might be having a application roadmap to build this. Now I want to spend a moment on one of the Gartner's base layered applications research report, which kind of gives you the strategic guidance as to how do you decide what application should really go into the cloud, what applications should you segregate, and what are the applications should really remain as is, or it should just be a lift and shift when you go into the cloud. Now, any system of record application, for example, Oracle eBusiness Suite, you have an equivalent product in the cloud. Again, it may or may not have all the bells and whistles what eBusiness Suite has currently, or it might be having more than that in some areas, less in some areas. System of differentiation, which are unique to your business. You will retain most likely these applications as is, probably you will just re-platform. Systems of innovation, anything new, it is born in the cloud, no questions asked. Now, utilize the base-layered application strategy to plan your cloud transition. It will kind of give you a good leverage to really identify and understand what is the approach you should take. I have provided the source of that report. Kindly go through that report. It has a wealth of information from Gartner. Here are some of the application transformation options. Again, this is my opinion. Practical opinion could be very different. A system of innovation, reporting applications. Some of the source applications is reporting. Option you have before you is replace and re-platform. You utilize Oracle Analytics Cloud. Now, why did I call Oracle Analytics Cloud as a system of innovation? It gives all the power to your users who can utilize the data visualization process to do their data modeling to come up with, different options for various business scenarios. Now, systems of differentiation. You could be having some specific custom billing applications. You retain them in the cloud. This could be very unique to your organization. Re-platform them and develop a specific cloud billing application to meet the requirements. So this will have a different approach because there is no equivalent application available to you. You will have to really redo the whole thing, but in a cloud native platform, which again, it would mean it will take more time as well as the amount of testing that you need to go, and it will have a longer timeline for implementation. Systems of record. Oracle eBusiness Suite, all things equal, you can directly replace it with Oracle Cloud ERP or Oracle Cloud SCM. If you think you are using all items out of the box in EBS and you do not have any very unique requirement, you can directly migrate it to the cloud. These are again some of the options which is listed, and you can come up with your own option as is applicable to your enterprise. So what are the cloud transition phases? First, you need to have a defined business strategy. Then you have a cloud strategy. It is very important. You need to align the cloud strategy to your business strategy, which will then create the opportunity for you to move to the cloud. You build a transition roadmap. After that, you have first have a proof of concept. It depends on the appetite level for risk and compliance within each organization. my recommendation, always go with the proof of concept, because you will be surprised. It is not the application themselves, but it is how you connect these applications across in cloud and on-prem is what is going to take the maximum amount of time. Identify a pilot project, conduct a proof of concept, then you plan your data migration, and then you plan your application migration, and then you transition to the cloud. So you follow all the standard steps what you do in a typical implementation, excepting you will take one step at a time, make sure everything is working, and then you move to the next environment. Also, you need to that the change management process itself for the cloud will be very important. Now, once you are in the cloud, you optimize and look for continuous improvement all the time. What are the cloud transition best practices? Now, before we get into these best practices, I would like to refer to a quote from Sun Tzu and the Art of War. Opportunities multiply as they are seized. Cloud provides you a tremendous amount of opportunity. Capitalize on it. First best practice, you need to have a very strong management support for digital transformation. Now, if you are just doing lift and shift, probably it may or may not really be worth it, because you are not really making any change. You are just taking your existing application and just moving it just to claim you are in cloud. You really have to take a different approach, look at opportunities to consolidate and rationalize, and then move into cloud. 2, develop a secure cloud first strategy. I don't know, this is the second or third time I'm discussing security. Security is number one all the time. You need to have security with the user accessibility as well as the required role entitlements very well defined, so that the application environment is very secure. Establish a cloud transition roadmap. Plan out how you want to migrate, which applications come in phase 1, which applications come in phase 2, and so forth. Understand the cloud contracts. You know, most of the vendors claim cloud is flexible, it is elastic, you have enormous amount of capacity, it is all good. But end of the month, you also receive an invoice. So invoice itself should not be so elastic that it costs you more than running your own data center. So understand each and every service what the vendor is providing you. Look for exceptions. Don't go as a rule. As a rule, everything works very well in the cloud. Look for exceptions. Does the vendor charge you for extracting the data out of the cloud? Now, you need an additional instance which needs to be spun up on demand. Now, does this pricing vary? How does this compare? Speak to your peers. Speak to other knowledgeable experts. Russ mentioned OATUG has a lot of experts who can advise you. Speak to all of these individuals, get their perspective before you form an opinion on this. Establish strong people, process, and data governance. Now, data governance is a very critical requirement considering the various regulatory mandates. However, more often than not, data is not managed as an enterprise asset. So if you are planning your journey into the cloud, definitely include a master data management tool in the transition, because this will start providing you lot of hidden benefits and will start bringing items together as an enterprise to provide a single source of truth. Ensure you have a proper exit strategy. Now, it is very important you should know you signed a cloud contract with the vendor. Can you get out of it? What are the ifs and buts of getting the data as applicable at the appropriate time, or do you have any roadblocks? Focus on solution-driven transition, not requirement-based. Align your business and technology teams so that all of them are marching to the same vision. Enable and integrate process-driven change management and support. More importantly, communicate, and communicate. Every small win you have, communicate to your users. Here is a list of references. Oracle Customer Connect is a great way for you to be in touch with other customers. Oracle also has some best practice documents which you should take a look. I've included as an example Oracle ERP Cloud Implementation Leading Practices. Now, as with any other application, auditing is very important to every organization. So here is a great presentation, Cloud Computing, what auditors need to know, which will give you an overview of if you're dealing with any cloud applications, what would be the auditors looking for. Here is also a document on application coexistence references. And finally, the Gartner Pace-Layered Application Research Report. This kind of gives you a high-level overview of some of the documents available. Please note this is not an exhaustive list. I just try to take best of the best, and there are many more. In summary, I've had the opportunity to present to you the need for application coexistence, some of the rationale and benefits of application coexistence. We have discussed some of the sample scenarios. Your actual scenarios would depend on your own application inventory and how you are planning to move to the cloud. I've had the opportunity to share with you how applications coexist at Broadridge. I have discussed how you can plan your cloud transition very efficiently. I've also had the opportunity to share some of the best practices with you, and you have a list of good references as a starter set to get your cloud journey moving. That concludes what I wanted to cover in this session. I will transition back to Russell, who can take it from here.
Thank you, Ravi. This is certainly a very informative, educational, lots of things you've shared, your experiences, your mindset, references on this webinar, and I really appreciate that. Mike, at this time, I believe we can open up the floor for any questions our audience may have.
Okay, great. Thanks, Russell. Yes, if you have any questions, please type it into the question box in your control panel at any time. We've got some great experts here, so we definitely like to get a few questions in. We are getting a couple in. So I will put the questions in the chat area. The first question is, how would you build a business case for the cloud? I know you talked a little bit about it, but I think I wanted you to elaborate on that a little bit, Ravi.
Sure, Mike. Great question. Now, one of the key things what you really need to look at, what is the total cost of ownership of maintaining an application on-prem as well as on cloud. Please understand, not every application is a candidate for cloud migration. If the cost of migrating to the cloud is very complex, in which case, in certain cases, retaining the application as is probably has a better option for you, especially if you are in an extremely specialized business. However, by and large, you need to do a one-to-one comparison, and one of the items which may come to your benefit would be any of the upcoming mergers and integrations, which will provide you enough background for you to plan a pilot cloud implementation so that your enterprise has the required experience in the cloud. Because one aspect is very clear, moving to the cloud is a definite. The only thing what is not definite is the timing. Like Larry Ellison has stated, it will amount to a decade or more of coexistence. So capture all the costs, direct, indirect, hidden costs, make a comparison, weigh in the risks versus reward and transformational benefits, which will help you to take a decision.
Okay, thank you, Ravi. I know that's a really broad and big question that's come from a lot of our different members. I know have looked at their on-prem and looked at cloud, done a very detailed analysis of both. And again, we do have a lot of members that stay on-prem, and we have a few members that are moving to the cloud. So I know it's a very broad, big question. We are getting another question here. This next one is, would you upgrade your EBS or would you go to the cloud? I guess that kind of fits in with the question we had beforehand.
It's a great question. Interestingly, I'm presenting a session on this in Collaborate 20 because this is one of the challenges which most of the existing EBS customers are having. Now, upgrading EBS has its own benefits. Going to the cloud has its own benefits. However, the actual decision would depend on a lot of factors, depending on the amount of customizations you have, as well as whether by going to the cloud, you are ready to transform your business processes. Like I stated in today's presentation, cloud is solution-based approach. So as long as you have the right kind of change management, certainly you would go to the cloud. But if your organization is not ready, your business processes are not yet come to a solution-based approach, then probably you need to wait it out. But at the same time, you also need to be compliant with all the regulatory requirements, including but not limited to end of life of the application. So in the interim, certainly you will have to upgrade to EBS. So there is no one size fits all solution here. You have to very carefully, pragmatically, and transformatively think through before you can take a real decision of whether you want to upgrade EBS or you want to go to cloud, or in the short term upgrade to EBS, in the long term go to the cloud.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Ravi. That was a great answer. I do know that you did mention Collaborate 20. We are having a ton of sessions. We're going to have close to 500 different sessions, of course, on everything Oracle. We do have a lot of sessions. About half of those are probably the EBS sessions. So again, if you wanted to learn something new, I know that everyone that's running EBS or running an on-prem solution has to be thinking about the cloud in the background. We do have presentations about creating different reports and building your EBS so that when you do transition to the cloud, it makes it a little bit easier. All right. I'm not seeing any other questions. So if anyone has any other questions, please type it in the question box of your control panel. All right, I'm not seeing anything else. I think we're going to have to go ahead and end the webinar. Again, I'd like to thank the Emerging Leaders Chair, Russell. Again, he does a fantastic job. We are going to be having a Emerging Leaders reception and some Emerging Leader programs at Collaborate. Again, I'd like to thank Ravi. He's part of my education committee for the OATUG. He does a fantastic job. He's going to be presenting some sessions at Collaborate, so I want to thank him as well. So thanks, everyone, and have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.